strong quarter earnings. It seems as if the performance was strong across all of your products, all of your portfolios.
It was. It's been, you know, this companies take, if you got a lot of different businesses, and we've got lots of businesses under this one IAC roof. Expedia's our travel business under another roof. But under the IAC roof, where we report earnings, you know, we've got so many disparate businesses, and they're all different little pistons, and it takes a while to get them in harmony with each other, and for the last actually 4-6 quarters, they have been getting to be somewhat rhythmic. So it's now got a pretty solid foundation. And
the two primary drivers of your growth are the search and toolbars?
No, search, all forms of search, search advertising, toolbar distribution, of which we've got over 100 million toolbars downloaded on people's computers all over the world. It's a pretty good size of market. And then, by revenue, very large business of ours is Match.com, which is the subscription dating business.
And anytime you get that subscription model in there,
it has
to be good. Yeah.
We like subscription models. We have several of them. And I think over the next years, the thing that is going to grow and grow are subscription models or pay models of various kinds.
So what are your other subscription models that are doing particularly well?
Like Vimeo, which is huge. Vimeo is essentially a personalized video distribution system for your own videos. It has 50 million uniques a month. But it also has a growing subscription business where you get further protection, you get to store more stuff, et cetera, et cetera. It's kind of a lock and key for your own videos, and it's booming.
Now you said that the subscription models are evolving.
Well, they're evolving because pay subscription. Facebook, in the last year, has introduced Facebook credits, which means that you can use essentially currency in a very fast, Amazon-like way to buy things. So Warner Brothers just distributed Dark Knight, one of the the last Batman movie or something, and they distributed it exclusively on Facebook using Facebook credits to pay for it. So all that stuff's just beginning. In the next years, as these pay models evolve.
So how are you positioned to take advantage of that?
Well, I think we're positioned in a number of ways. Our Electus College Schumer group, which produces lots of videos a week, is going to make a movie at the end of the year, which they will probably distribute on pay internet systems. We are doing now 8 different television series, internet television series, that I think will also, whether it's iTunes or whether it's Facebook credits or whether it's PayPal or whether it's Amazon, which will certainly be a distributor of pay programming. All that stuff is now coming. So we're organizing our company to get ready to produce this stuff as old line, very consolidated, big companies feel the forces of creative destruction, which is inevitable.
Talk to me a little bit about how you're making the decisions to spin off companies or not. So Match.com, you've let investors know that you're not planning to do that.
When I was asked the direct question, here's the thing, I said it at the time, so it's just as fresh, otherwise it'll become bromidic. I kind of am the spin-off, I hate the word king of anything, because our friend Sumner Redstone, that thug, invented, so to speak, or claimed content is king, basically because he was old and wanted to be king. But I have done more spin-offs than anyone else. You know, 2 years ago we spun off 5 public companies, and now we have 7, and we just announced the spin-off in Expedia. Our travel company is spinning off TripAdvisor into a separate company. So I very much believe that when a company gets to sufficient size, that it can be independent, stand on its own, and is better for standing on its own, spin it out.
Okay, so when will you know when that's the case with Match?
You know, it's not like a thing that has some tape you cross. I mean, you'll know it when you feel it. You know, we as I say, for years we talked about our investors, but everybody talked about, why aren't you spinning off TripAdvisor? It's become this huge business. It's not valued, you know? Expedia is valued for this. TripAdvisor, by private calculation of most people, is worth probably 4/5 of Expedia. So, but we felt that we had not gotten up to kind of sufficient flywheel revolutions that it ought to stand. And then one day, literally, one of my colleagues said, don't you think it's time we consider this again? And I went, yeah. And that led fairly quickly. It's kind of always in the back plate. When it's appropriate is just feel, nuance.
Instinct.
No rules, instinct, gut. No research. There's nothing you can do to find out. We've been, the one thing I can say is that every spin-off we have done up until now has been successful. The companies that have been spun off are better managed than I could manage them. They are better directly, because I still am kind of indirectly, but better managed than directly. They are stronger for it. They're more focused.
One of the things that investors are always looking at your company is that pile of cash.
I know. Getting bigger, I'm afraid.
And you're out there in the world filled with curiosity and that gut instinct that you just described. What are you looking at? What's out there that's interesting? Are there companies? Are there a wealth of companies to buy and invest in?
I thought one of the foundation principles 2 years ago when we spun off all those companies, well, we would leave a pile of cash, a couple of $1 billion, actually $2.5 billion, inside what was then what emerged as a relatively small company, IAC. Because I thought we'll be able to make it grow by acquisition. And I promise you, there's nothing we didn't turn over. Now, I'm sure we didn't do some things we should have done, but we could not find, for us, we could not find value. And so we've now, through acquisitions and smaller things and whatever, we've plowed through 600 or 700 million of that, but we build up 300 million a year. So I find it very difficult, very frustrating. It's actually, I think, it's a failure. One of the reasons I reorganized the company and named a chief executive, and so that I would not be on that line, because I really thought, while I'd found a lot of interesting things to buy, maybe I'd done it too long. I wanted somebody fresh, because it is a failure. You can't be overcapitalized for a long period of time without admitting you're just not good enough.
So does this mean you're handing over the pile of cash to your CEO to say, all right, do you buy?
No, I'm saying to him, absolutely. You go search for opportunity. You're younger, you're fresher, you're more, I'm still curious, but you're on the ground and on the line much more than I am. And it's not that I'm going anywhere, but I really do want him to develop the opportunities for the future.
So has he come to you with any potential deals?
No, it's only been 3 months.
Okay.
I'll give him a week.
All right, I'll give him a little time. Next time I see you, I'll be asking you that.
All right.
I won't keep you too long. I actually want to ask you some questions about Match.com.
Sure.
Because you are, you have this portfolio of brands, and you are the steward of those brands.
Yes.
And in the case of Match.com,
yes.
you've had a recent lawsuit.
Yes.
You've a class action suit filed by a woman who claims that she was assaulted by somebody that she met on Match. You have announced that you are going to start checking users against a database.
Yes.
Why did you wait for a lawsuit to do that?
The truth is that we have been, in various ways, over the last years, we're of course sensitive to this. The last thing anybody wants, I mean, certainly, forget thinking of it in terms of the right or wrong thing to do. What you absolutely don't want are people to misuse your service, lie, cheat, steal, hurt people. All of the services that we have, or that everyone who's in the internet has, have areas where there is vulnerability. We just read about PlayStation and Sony and taking personal information. Match is more sensitive. So we have been building up the various things that we will do to try and vet people who, through their cleverness and scheming, they can probably get around different things. The reason we didn't do it before is not because we didn't want to. That database was not available to us in this manner to scan. So we are going to do that. We'll do, by the way, if there's any way that technologically works, that we can vet better the people on the service, we'll do it. It's in absolutely our interest to do so. You are going to have, from time to time, the ingenuity of bad man, but you are going to have people who are going to do bad acts using your services. That's the only issue. Is, are you doing everything you can to prevent it?
And do you feel like you're also doing everything you can to prevent data breaches along the lines of what we've seen?
We do a lot. We've been fairly lucky. We're number 7 in the world in internet usage, our company, which has, this last year, I think, 580 billion views. Some huge volumes of stuff. You do what you can. Again, there are going to be breaches. I don't care what you do, there are going to be breaches. We've been fairly lucky. We've not had a big, violative ping at our services, but like everybody else.
One last question, quick one. How do you describe your role as chairman? Because I would imagine you do chairman a little bit differently.
Good luck.
How would you
should
describe
ask my colleagues. That would be a tough description. I don't know. I have trouble describing it. Look, I am learning. How is that?
Okay.
Look, I do have substantial voting control of the company, so I feel ultimately responsible. That I can't disseminate, so to speak. I can't push that ultimate kind of responsibility for major material actions of the company. But as far as operating the company and being a true and real chief executive, I have to turn that over. And it's tough. It's a rocky, it's an evolutionary process. Some days I think I'm doing pretty well, and then I'll be in a situation where, and I have to, my discipline's getting a little better. I'm getting better at it.
And I will check in with you again on that one too. Thank you.